The night air was heavy with silence. In a safe house just across the Mexican border, cartel bosses sat around a glowing TV screen. Their phones buzzed with encrypted alerts. Something had changed. Something big. On the screen, Donald Trump's voice rang out. Calm, cold, final. From this moment on, Mexican drug cartels will be treated as what they truly are, foreign terrorist organizations. The room went still. Cigarettes burned down to ash. Eyes narrowed. These weren't just criminals anymore. They had just been branded the same as ISIS. And with that label came drones, CIA blacklists, and the threat of being hunted to the ends of the earth. The men didn't say it aloud, but they all knew life would never be the same. This wasn't politics. This was war. For decades, cartels thrived in shadows, bribing judges, silencing cops, burying witnesses in shallow graves. But now they were at the top of America's most wanted list. The terrorist designation meant frozen assets, international sanctions, and covert operations. It meant that the men who once controlled empires of cocaine and fentanyl were now fair game for the U.S. military. And across Mexico, a question spread like wildfire. Would this make cartels weaker or far more dangerous? Weeks later, dawn broke over Mexico City with the sound of helicopters. Streets were cordoned off. Armored vehicles rolled out. One by one, the doors of cartel safe houses were kicked open. Inside, half-asleep lieutenants were yanked from their beds, wrists cuffed, black hoods pulled tight. By sunrise, 26 men, high-ranking players from the Sinaloa cartel, the CJNG, and United Cartels, were shackled and loaded onto planes bound for the United States. The images shocked the world. But what cameras didn't show was the secret bargain behind the scenes. In Washington, a deal had been struck. The U.S. promised not to pursue the death penalty. In return, Mexico delivered up the men who had terrorized its people for years. For the cartels, this was betrayal. For the U.S., it was just a beginning. In sealed courtrooms, indictments dropped like hammers. 5 leaders of United Cartels, men who ran meth labs the size of factories, men who commanded death squads like generals, were now branded narco-terrorists. Bounties up to $10 million were placed on their heads. Their empires, once untouchable, were mapped out in chilling detail. Routes through Venezuela, ports in the Caribbean, hidden jungle airstrips. But here's the truth no one wanted to admit. Cartels adapt. When one empire falls, another rises. When one boss is captured, lieutenants split into factions. Instead of one enemy, America now faced dozens of smaller, more desperate, more violent cells. And with the terrorist label, the cartels knew one thing. There was no going back. Then came the move no one expected. U.S. Navy destroyers appeared in the Caribbean Sea. Their mission? Hunt cartel submarines and freighters disguised as cargo ships. Satellite images caught narco subs skimming the waves at night. Cartel scouts whispered of radar locks, of near-miss encounters where one wrong move could have sparked open conflict. For the first time in modern history, America wasn't sea against nations, but against cartels. And every cartel boss watching knew the message. If you ship poison into the U.S., you won't just face the DEA. You'll face warships. But as the world's eyes turned to the ocean, cartels were already plotting their next move on land. Cartel power has always been more than money. It's psychology. It's fear. It's the knowledge that a whispered threat can silence a whole village, that one public execution can bend an entire city to its knees. Violence isn't random, it's calculated. Propaganda through blood. And now, as terrorists, the cartels leaned into that fear. Some began releasing hostage videos like jihadists. Others staged attacks not for profit, but for spectacle. The question hung in the air like a storm cloud. Had America finally outsmarted the cartels, or had it awakened something far worse? The war on drugs has always been a shadow war. But shadows fight back when dragged into the light. With Trump's declaration, cartels are no longer just criminals. They are America's newest terrorists. But terrorists adapt. Terrorists evolve. And terrorists never forget. So now, as extradited bosses rot in U.S. prisons, as Navy ships circle cartel subs in dark waters, As bounties climb into the millions, the world waits. Because the story isn't over. It's only the beginning. This was inside criminals' minds. Do you think calling cartels terrorists will finally bring them down or make them stronger? Let us know in the comments. Because the war in the shadows is only just beginning.